Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun with Benzion. Today's daf is Nazir daf Vav. It's very interesting. At the end of today's daf, Vav Beis, the Gemara quotes a brisa. The Gemara says, "May the machlokas Rav Masna and Bar Pada we had regarding the Mishnah on daf Ham and Aleph. Stam Nazir Shloshim Yom. The Mishnah says 30 days. What is 30 days? Does it really mean 30 full days, like Rav Masna says? Because it says Yiyeh Kadosh Yiyeh Got Yiyeh. Right, is an extra word, and the gematria of Yiyeh is 30. Or do we say 29 days, like Bar Pada, right? And Stam Nazir Shloshim Yom, meaning the entire concept of the Nazir. 29 days you're Aser, in the Yisurim of the Nazir. And the 30th day you bring your Karbanos. So Stam Nazir Shloshim Yom, the completion of your Nazir is by bringing the Karbanos and shaving your head. So is it 29 days or 30? He says 29 days. He says the word Nazir in the Torah 29 times. Now, the Gemara says, "Let lema kitanai." Say the machlokas Bar Pada and Rav Mas as a machlokas tanoim. We have a brisa and Vav Beis where Rabbi Yosha and Yonasan argue. Rabbi Yosha says, "Kadosh yeh gadol pera and gidol sar pakom shlosha." How do you know in these years it's 30 days? Stam years is 30 days because it says Kadosh yeh gadol pera, right? The growing of your hair. To grow your hair for 2 days, it's not growing. Growing is normally 30 days. And Rabbi Yonasan says, no, it's the ad malos hayamim, until the completion of the days. What's a type of counting where you're completing days? A month, the Jewish concept of calculating a month. Really, a month is, every lunar, the cycle regenerates itself every 29 and a half days. So we can't count 29 and a half days for a month. So some months are deficient or chaser, and some are mali. So they're talking about months, about days of a month. And that's why we explained, right, Bar Pada agrees that there's a concept the Mishnayos talk about of the Yisurim of Naziris being 30 days, and he agrees that's talking about Naziris Shlema. There's a Naziris Shalem or Naziris Mali and Naziris Chaser, and really the source for that from Pada is really Rabbi Yonasan over here, where we learn out of the months, counting of the months. Malos Hayamim, months are completed. A 30-day month is complete, and some months are Chaser, right? So therefore, if I say Stam Naziris, and we're not sure what you said, so then we say 29 days, but the evidence is okay to observe your Naziris. But if the context, or you said, I want to be another Shalem, so then 30 days, right? And seemingly the source is from Rabbi Yonasan. So the question is, why does Rav Pada give a different source and say, because it says the word Nazir 29 times in the Torah? If really the main source should be from Yonasan, because Rabbi Yonasan gives you the ability to say sometimes it's 29 days, sometimes it's 30 days, which is more precise of the sheet of Bar Pada. So you have to say, and the Gemara really says potentially this is the Machlos Tanaim is the same thing as Machlos Amoraim. The Gemara says maybe Rav Masna can hold according to both opinions, but definitely Bar Pada can only say according to Rabbi Yonasan. So I like to suggest, yes, it's true. Rav Masna and Rav Pada both hold. So why both hold like Rabbi Yoshia and Rabbi Yonasan? So why didn't they give the source Rabbi Yoshia and Rabbi Yonasan? Rabbi Yoshia and Rabbi Yonasan were Tanoim. Rav Masna and Rav Pada Amoraim. The answer is that Rabbi Yoshia and Rabbi Yonasan are giving drashas. They're drashas. There's a difference between drash and remez. Right? Well, there's three. The Gra talks about that in Sefer Mishlei. Pardes, Pshat, Remez, Drush. So there's 4 levels of understanding the Torah. Pshat is a simple explanation of the pasuk. Sod is, really the Torah wants us to understand the mitzvahs. We don't understand the Sod, but the 2 aspects that the Gemara really relies on. Pshat, you don't need, you have the article Stone Chumash to tell you what the Pshat is, but Remez and Drush is what the Gemara is telling you about. Most of the Gemara is talking about Drush, where you have extra words in the Torah, and for some reason, homiletically, you explain certain words that are extra in the Torah in a certain way. This is a Masorah that we have for Moshe Rabbeinu from Har Sinai. You darshan it in certain ways. There's a machlokas about this, right? Because some Tanoim, there's the machlokas. Machlokas is the concept, right? They're legitimate opinions. Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel argue over what, the extra word is coming to teach you, right? Machlokas, I always said, is, it's not that Elu Divrei Elohim Chaim does not mean that they're both true. It means that they're both legitimate opinions, right? People can have an opinion if it's not something which is completely disproven, but one of the opinions is possibly right, and that's the point of the Gemara, to argue over which opinion is the right opinion, right? Rabbi Kiva and Shmuel say their opinions. They bring psukim, they try to bring proofs from Svara, and we try to figure out, that's the point of the Gemara, try to figure out which opinion is the correct opinion. So really, the source is the Tanaim. When the Tanaim argue from a drush, right? Gadol pera. What is gadol pera? Gadol pera, growing of your hair. A normal growing of your hair right, is 30 days. Right? This is not exactly, science. They didn't take a poll out of what's considered growing your hair. How often do people get haircuts? He just said, homiletically, that's what the Torah means. 30 days is considered a normal time for growing your hair. As I said, yesterday we talked about COVID, right? Weighing down. This is obviously less. And Rabbi Yonasan says, no, ad malos hayamim, right? We're talking about completion of the days. What type of counting is there completion of the days? It's counting of the month, the lunar month, right? 39 days, 30 days, or 29 days. That's a drasha. That's really what we get. And that's the source of Bar Pada, because Bar Pada was forced, based on the Mishnah, not Ted Zion, to say sometimes there really is 30 days. 30 days for the Isurei Nazir, right? If the context you said Sam Naziros was Shlemim, right? A complete, like he says, Malo, so you have a Chodesh Male. And sometimes you have a Chodesh Chaser, which also is 29 days, which if you don't have we don't have a context, so we go the Kula, right? Because when you have a suffix in the Torah, right, you don't know which way to go, so we go with the Kula Shita, right? Because Koach Tera Adif. So if you don't know which way to go, you go 29 days. If you do it, if the context was Shleiman, you have that full 30 days. So that's where he gets it. So why is Bar Pada bringing up the word Nazir 29 times? And why is Rav Masa saying, a Gematria? Now, Gematria is not a drush. Gematria is remez. People get up at Sheva Bracha, they talk about Gematria. But it's remez. It's like Kabbalah almost. It's like, you'd see a Gematria in the Zohar or something like that. So all Rav Masa and Rav Pada are doing is backing up the drush, right? Something you want to strengthen. The drush is, is machlokas, what the correct drasha is from the pasuk. So they're just strengthening that. That's all Bar Pada and Rav Masa are doing. Of course, they're taking the drush of the Tanaim. Rav Yonasan is what the opinion of Bar Pada. But he strengthens that by the time it says the word Nazir in the Torah. Counting the word Nazir in the Torah is also a remes, right? It's like, it doesn't make any sense, right? A hint, 29 days, 29 times. It's like the Gemara counts. It says the word malacha in the Torah 39 times. Therefore, there's 39 malachas on Shabbos. It doesn't really make sense. It's a hint in the Torah. So that's all they're doing. They're backing it up and giving a remez. All Rav Masa and Rav Pada are doing, once we learn this Gemara in the Avav, is they're just giving a remez to support the drasha, right? A drasha is more significant in the Gemara. The Gemara usually argues about the drasha of a pasuk. But all Bar Pada and Rav Masa are doing is the Iker, this is what I'm suggesting, the Iker Shita of Bar Pada comes from Yonasan, right? The drasha of Rabbi Yonasan. The Iker Shita of Rav Masa really comes from Rabbi Yoshia. However, they also want to back it up. And then really that the Gemara is backing it up by saying, according to Rav Masa, 30 days. He's backing it up from the Remez, from Kabbalah. And he's backing it up from the word Nazir 29 times. So it's important to know that once we have this Gemara in Da'avav, Rav Masa and Rav Pada, it's hard to understand why the Gemara jumped right away to Rav Masa and Bar Pada Tamorayim when we could have brought the Tanoim. The reason it didn't do that is because, like the Gemara says, it's not clear that the Malchus Tanoim is exactly. Rav Masa could say both according to Rabbi Yosha and according to Rabbi Yonasan. However, that's why the Gemara didn't bring the Malchus Tanoim. However, Rav Masa and Rav Pada, which are more precise in the Machlokas, they are not really the source for the Machlokas. The source of the Machlokas is the drasha we have on Vavam and Beis. They're just giving a backup proof, remez, which is just less clear. Kabbalah is hard to understand, but they're adducing support to the proofs of Rabbi Yosha and Rabbi Yonasan on the above. That's what I'd like to suggest today. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.